Hey, I'm John Cannell, and today on Preppy Kitchen, we're making a quick and delicious air fryer cheesecake. So let's get started. First off, you're gonna wanna grab a 7 or 8 inch springform pan. It's really whatever will fit in your air fryer basket, so choose accordingly. You'll also wanna give it a really quick light greasing, just so nothing sticks. For the crust, you need about 1.25 cups or 150 grams of crushed graham crackers. You could pop them into a food processor. You could have them in a plastic bag and give them a smack, or just buy graham cracker crumbs. If you crush your graham crackers by hand, you'll have a little bit more texture, which can be really nice. 150 grams. To my graham crackers, we'll add 3 tablespoons of melted butter to hold everything together and give us some richness. To sweeten things up a little bit more, I'm adding 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. And if you're wondering, like, what's the deal with air fryer cheesecake? Why shouldn't I just make a regular cheesecake? Well, you only have a 20-minute cook time as opposed to like over an hour usually for a regular cheesecake. You also have a reasonable sized portion. You can go through the cheesecake, it'll be gone in a day, and you don't have to deal with a ton of leftovers. And the nice thing is there is no sacrificing taste or that creamy, delicious texture. And there's no water bath either. Give your crust a thorough mix so it's really nice and combined. It'll be almost the texture of wet sand when it's ready. Time to plop this into our springform pan. And by the way, if you wanted to add a little bit more texture or a different depth of flavor, you could sub 1/2 cup of the graham crackers for 1/2 cup of toasted chopped pecans or walnuts. It's a really nice addition. Give it a little shimmy. And now we're gonna press this down into a flat layer. Really pack it together. For this step, you can use a flat-bottomed cup or a measuring cup, although measuring cups tend to have handles, and those are not gonna fit in a smaller springform pan. If you like my videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. There's 2 new recipes every single week, and shorts too. Once your crust is nice and packed in, we're gonna pop this into the freezer while we make our filling. Now, in the bowl of our stand mixer, fitted with a paddle attachment, or a big bowl if you're using a hand mixer, we're gonna add 2 8-ounce packages of softened cream cheese, that's 226 grams, right into the bowl. I will point out, one of the most important steps in making any cheesecake is having softened cream cheese. It sounds very simple, but if it's too hard, it'll have lumps that just do not mix in, and you won't have that same creamy texture throughout. Leave your cream cheese on your countertop for a few hours to come to room temp and soften up, or if it's a cold day, just take it out of the wrapper, pop it onto a plate and microwave, half power, 20-second bursts or so, and just flip the cream cheese in between so it warms evenly. Pop that in, pop your paddle attachment on, and now we're gonna beat this on medium speed until it's really nice and creamy. While that mixes up, you're gonna wanna measure out 1/2 cup or 120 grams of sour cream. It's basically a magical ingredient. It'll lighten your cheesecake, and you'll have a little bit of a tang that adds to the depth of flavor. So there's a little bit of sweet, a little bit of tang, and it just really makes the cheesecake melt in your mouth. A few seconds of mixing later, and my cream cheese is very soft and creamy throughout. I don't see any lumps, so it was nice and warm to begin with. And now that our cream cheese is softened up, it's time to add some granulated sugar, 2/3 of a cup or 133 grams. Sprinkle that in. If you want more of a caramel note in your cheesecake, you could sub out 1/2 of the sugar for light brown sugar. Just crumble that in so there's no big chunks. We're gonna mix this up on medium until just combined. We're not trying to beat a lot of air into here because that'll give us tiny bubbles that'll make the cheesecake less creamy. See, that's it. Time for 2 large room temperature eggs added one at a time with no shells. 1 and 2. So if you're looking in the bowl, you're gonna see a lovely, loose, glossy mixture. That's a bit more yellow from the egg yolks, but on the outside, it's very pale. We need to scrape the bowl down. The key to the perfect cheesecake is having a really nice, homogeneous mixture. It's the same throughout, and that means there's no lumps or bumps hanging around, which means you really have to scrape the bowl down. And scrape your beater down as well, because you'll have some cream cheese lurking around that's not mixed in with anything else. Back to mixing now. I'm gonna let this run on medium-low for just a bit so I can really incorporate all that stuff I just dredged up from the bottom of the bowl. For some more delicious flavor, 2 teaspoons of vanilla cannot hurt. And we're also gonna add that 1/2 cup of sour cream we measured out. This cheesecake is going to go in a flash, but in your fridge, it'll last up to 3 days, and you can freeze it for up to 3 months. It's best without the topping, just the cheesecake. One more set of mixing. And definitely one last scrape of the bowl. Silky smooth, no lumps, and we're ready to combine. Crust is out of the freezer, and now pour in your filling. Because this freezes so well, it is a great thing to make ahead. And my tip for you would be, make it, bake it, let it cool, and then cut it into slices and wrap those individually. They'll thaw much more quickly. You could have a little baby slice for a snack or a big slice for when you need your emotional support cheesecake, and it is gonna be delicious. This looks great. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a shimmy and a couple taps, which will release the air bubbles. Air is really your enemy here. You wanna have just smooth cheesecake. If I made this and I pumped a ton of air bubbles, like I said earlier, those air bubbles will expand in the oven. They'll cause the cheesecake to overbake and to crack, and it's just not delicious. Tap, tap, tap. This is ready to go into our air fryer now, so carefully transfer your cheesecake into your air fryer. Gently close your basket. Now you want to set your air fryer to bake, so turn it on, select bake. It's 300 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 minutes. Every air fryer is different. If yours runs really hot, I would set this to maybe 16 minutes and then check from there. Open up your basket, see if you have a nice slight wobble in the center. If you do, it's done. If it's wobbling too much, just give it 2 more minutes at a time and keep checking on it. Once your cheesecake is appropriately cooked with a slight wobble, open your basket and crack it open slightly, and then you're gonna let it cool in there for 30 minutes so it cools slowly and doesn't crack open from the temperature change. After your cheesecake finishes its 30 minutes with the cracked door, bring it out, pop it onto a wire rack, let it cool completely, and then you're going to chill for 4 hours to overnight so it's easy to cut. It needs time to set up. To get it out, grab a small knife or offset spatula, and you're going to run it along the edge just so the cheesecake can release easily. Run a knife along the bottom as well, if needed, and then transfer to a cake plate. Give it a slice, and just like that, it's ready to enjoy. Light, creamy, perfectly sweet, and unlike most cheesecakes, the crust stays crisp. I hope you get a chance to make this delicious recipe, and if you like my videos, hit that subscribe button and check out my air fryer playlist.